Hi, everybody. Welcome to our town hall. And this is our second one for Black History Month. And for this particular one, please, everyone, just be aware that it's going to be posted on YouTube. So if you don't feel like showing your face, that's fine. But yeah, everybody's welcome to participate. Today's topic is a series. We don't expect to finish the topic today. It is likely that we're going to stay on this topic till the rest of February, till the rest of Black History Month. My name is Rose Joshua. I'm your facilitator. We do have some highly talented people in the community, everyone here, to just help us. Everyone here, please participate, share your ideas, share your opinions, share your suggestions. We're here to help one another. Okay, so the topic before us is a big one. The topic before us is common mistakes Black people make. Now, when we were looking at this topic, we said, well, these are human mistakes, but because this is Black History Month, we want to focus on our Black community. But you will notice that a lot of the items that we mentioned that we're going to talk about, they are human mistakes, right? But the idea for us is to help us navigate the Canadian system, because I believe that most of us are immigrants. I don't believe anybody in the Black community is a native Indian. So we're all immigrants. And so how are we going to navigate the Canadian system, and how can we help ourselves and help our community to navigate around these common mistakes? Now, again, this recording is going to be on YouTube. So if you don't feel like showing your face, again, please, that's fine. But please, everyone participate. We really value your information, your input. Now, the way we're going to go about this is we're going to look at a problem, and then we're going to discuss it. The discussion would give us then the opportunity to let everybody hear our voice on the topic. Now, the topics are not arranged in any sequential order. There's actually no sequence, but there are ideas that we're just bringing forth. So some of them may be related today. Some of them may be related to the ones we're going to look at next Friday. So we're going to cover these topics. Today is the 7th, and then the 14th and the 21st, and probably the 28th if we have not exhausted the topics. All right. Okay, so without further ado, drum roll. Number one is actually the bottom line of everything. So let's start with number one. Common mistake number one, financial illiteracy, not taking time to learn how money works. Okay. So in introducing that, everybody please unmute yourselves. Many times we come from knowledge, points of knowledge from our home country. And then we make certain assumptions as to how money works in Canada. But unfortunately, the way money works back home, regardless of where home is not the same way money works here, right? And so because of that, we fall into mistakes. One of the topics we will talk about eventually would be the credit system, for example. Many times we jump into credit with 2 hands and 2 feet in our head. And it doesn't work the same way back home. Like the concept is not even back home, depending on their country, home country. So not taking time to learn how the financial system works causes a lot of trouble. So can anybody now share their experience and advice, especially to new people coming in, how to avoid this problem? Open mic.
Okay, good evening, all. For me, I've not been in Canada for very long, so I have not fallen too deep into the credit system here. Okay, right. But from my experiences here back at home, the credit system is very little or almost non-existent. Whereby if you want to buy a car, in most of the time you have to get your money complete 100%, to go and purchase the car. Although the credit system is beginning to grow a little bit in my neck of the woods in the West African region, yeah, but it's different from what I'm seeing here. I'm still in a learning curve myself to learn and understand it and make it work, effectively for me. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sister Margaret.
Good job. Yeah, I'm agreeing with him that back home we don't really know about credit. If I remember, those who were using credit back home maybe are rich people or business people. Those were the class of people that we could even hear them talk about their banks, something, bank rate, interest rate, something like that. They are the people that are using those credit, but the average person, we don't know about credit. You have to buy everything cash. If you don't have the cash, you start to save until when the money is full, then you can go into the market and buy.
Yeah.
So I got to take one example like the home, buying a home. Back home, if you see somebody, the house is built, know that the house is completely paid for. But here in Canada, you know somebody owns a home, or I've bought my house, I own a home. That home is not your own until you finish paying. And if you miss about 3 payments, and then you will know that that home does not belong to you. So these are the things that we need to learn. We need to know how to go about it and know the size of houses that we could qualify for. Sometimes people just think that, okay, any house is good. Yes, you could get it from the beginning, but down the road, when things start getting hard, what would you do? How are you going to solve the problem? You may lose your job. Something else may come up. You may become sick. How is that house going to be paid? Those are the things that we need to learn in this new Canada, in this new place that we immigrated to. So it's true, we're going to join the system. When you're in Rome, do what the Romans do, because there's no way I'm going to save $400 to buy a house. I have to take it on credit as they offer it, because that's how their system is running. But at the background, we need to learn what to do when adversity strikes and you cannot work and pay for that house, and you cannot meet up with some certain bills. So those are the things that we need to learn in this place. Otherwise, we will be in we'll enter those shocks that you lose your house and now you become poor as if you never got a house before, right? So we need to learn those things.
That's really good. And so I just put in the chat my YouTube channel. There's a lot of videos in there that talk about how money works with getting a home, your mortgage. How does it work? How money works with, borrowing and investments. Feel free, please, to watch those videos, educate yourself. So I guess the question to us now is, if we see somebody who is brand new in the system, how can we advise them? And so that is telling them, okay, before you go borrowing, this is how it works, right? So how are they going to get that information? How would a new person get that information? And I know what the answer is. Okay, because the new person does not get the information. Because here's the thing, once you land at the airport, the banks come at you, okay, and before you know it, they've offered you a credit card, right? Okay, before you know it, they've offered you a credit card, but it is good for everybody who is listening to us, who is going to eventually watch this video. Talk to your brothers, talk to your sisters. Before you accept a credit card that's 5,000 deep, talk to them and say, okay, this bank gave me this. So what does it look like? Okay, I know, Justin, you have some experience there. Go ahead.
Okay, when I came newly, I went to the bank to open an account, and after opening the account, so they told me they will offer me a credit card. To me, I was thinking it was a good thing. I was happy and I gladly accepted. So I applied. It was now when I came back home, I started telling mommy, look at, I opened an account. They offered me a credit card. Mommy was like, do you understand the meaning of credit card? I said, no. When she now explained everything to me, I quickly rushed down there and canceled the credit card. And it happened to my cousin's sister who came here December last year. So she went to the bank. They quickly introduced her to the credit card. To her, she didn't understand the meaning of credit card. She was like, that we are offering her the credit card for free. So she accepted. So it was now when she came to me, I was like, she was excited. And they offered me a credit card. I was like, what did you do? She said, something I've been looking for. I said, do you understand the meaning of credit card? She said, no. I said, don't put yourself in a problem. I now explained the meaning of credit card to her. So after explaining the stuff to her, she was like, no, 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 I'm not taking it. So she went and canceled hers too. So I think many people have fallen victim of credit card in Canada because I know that if people who are immigrants here start telling their experiences, you will know that 90% of us here experience the same thing. So they wouldn't tell you the implications of credit card. They would now push you to accept it. It's when you now accept the credit card and maybe you start making use of the money. Now, when the time comes for you to pay the interest, you might not be able to pay. By then, it becomes a problem. So I think all of us here will join hands together and start telling our people who are new here. First, we tell them the meaning of credit card and explain to them how it works. Now, it's now left for them to know whether to accept or not. So that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, I do have to say very quickly, everybody, that credit card is not bad. Okay, it's not bad in itself. It's actually a good instrument to build what is called your credit bureau. Okay, however, the reason it does appear to be bad is because people don't understand how it works. Remember, this topic is not understanding how money works. So because people don't understand how it works, they abuse the credit card. They use it wrongly. And so they see the negative side of credit card. So credit is good. Why? Because when it's time for you to buy that house, they will say, what is your credit score? When it's time for you to maybe finance a car, they will say, what is your credit score? If you don't have a credit history, they rarely lend you money. So it is good to have the credit card, but have a very small balance, like maybe $500, max 1,000. When they offer you 5,000, say, no, 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 give me 500. That's number one. Number two, you only use your credit card when you have the money to pay for the expense. Okay, there's certain things that we buy online, or to build your credit history, you use your credit card in order to build your credit history. But building your credit history is by swiping and paying. Swipe and pay, swipe and pay. When they see the pattern that you're using the credit card and you're paying before it is due within 30 days, that builds your credit. So this may be a topic for another day, but credit, I just want us to go away with knowing that credit is not bad in itself. It's just a trap of running into a $10,000 credit, and then it starts racking up at 30%, and then it gets out of control, and we don't have the discipline to swipe and pay. We think the credit card money is not free money. I think that's where, your friend, your cousin, was like, oh my God, I've been looking for this money. It's not free. It's money you have to pay. So just knowing, again, bottom line is not understanding how money works. So for those of us who are already deep in credit card debt, okay, connect with me, connect with Margaret, she's here. Connect with whoever invited you and sit down and go through credit counseling. Okay, there's a way we can work with you to get out of the deep credit that hurts our finances. Okay, any questions on this topic before we move on?
Okay.
All right, before we move on, one more thing about learning how finance works. You can also connect with me and Margaret. We can help you get certified to become a financial advisor. So in learning how to advise others, you will also learn the entire system. You will learn the entire system of investments, credit, line of credit, mortgages, all of that. You learn all of that, become certified, become a walking body of knowledge yourself. And then you can help yourself and help others as well. And that is a very high level that I recommend for everybody. Okay. All right. Any questions before we move on? Going one, going two. All right. Next one. So we just went through financial illiteracy number 1. The next one, drum roll, number 2, sending the wrong message to friends and family back home or anywhere else. Sending the wrong message to friends and family back home. I know, Justin, I'm going to call you up on this one after everybody has spoken. I know your secrets, so sorry for you. All right. So we come here and we send the wrong messages. I'm just repeating the title. And how do we do that? We give the impression that, oh, I'm in Canada now, I'm in the USA now, everything is good, there's money, we start taking pictures with houses that don't belong to us. We start taking pictures beside vehicles that don't belong to us. We send a picture home. We say, oh my God, my brother now has a Ferrari. Oh, my brother now has a brand new big double garage house. Meanwhile, and so the wrong message triggers all kinds of weird stuff, weird dynamics happening from home. So can anybody talk about that? I just introduced a big Pandora's box. Go ahead. Who wants to go first?
Okay, yeah, I would try to take the initiative from that also. You know, because for me, I've had cause to advise people against that in the past myself, you know, because that is one trap I'd never fall into. But I have known people that have, seem to have fallen into such trap, and they receive messages from somebody that is in North America, and feel that, oh wow, they are having the time of their life, when in reality, the challenges here are enormous, especially for a newcomer, until you are able to get your feet on the ground and all that, So yeah, that's my own little contribution to that.
Mhm. So what is the impact of somebody sending, say, for example, okay, so I'm going to ask you, Justin, because I know you and I have talked about this one. You take a picture beside a Lamborghini, or give me any car, BMW, whatever, Mercedes, and you send that home. What is the reaction? And how does that affect us? How is that a mistake?
Yeah, even without doing that, you know that people whom they think once you leave Nigeria to Canada
Not
to
just Nigeria, not just Nigeria.
yeah,
Back home, yes.
people in Africa.
Mhm.
So they believe that once you cross the border, you enter the country, everything is fine with you. But me, I was thinking the same thing, having the same thought until I came to Canada. It was not when I now got into Canada, I started seeing that what we were thinking in Africa is quite different from what is happening in the country. So, and another thing is when we start posting pictures, people back home, they don't even think this might be maybe a post or snap picture. They'll think, this person is in a good place, and maybe he has acquired a luxurious car. So you start receiving calls. Even the people that don't even talk to you, don't call you, start calling you, bro, what's up? They start making a request from you. So, and it's very, 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 very wrong. There's nothing you tell them that will make them change their thought about that. So it's a kind of something we have to correct and make people in Africa to understand that the way they see it is not the way it is here. Because they think that nobody suffer in Canada. Nobody go through stress. And in fact, when I was in Nigeria, I never believed that in Canada there's a poor person. That's the truth. Until you come here, like me now, I'm poor. So I can use myself as a son. For example, yeah. Then we never believe that there's a poor person in Canada. We believe if you are poor, what are you still doing in Canada? Come back home. Let's know that you are poor, that you are not doing anything. You know, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Okay. Anybody else before we move to the next topic? So here's the advice, everyone. Don't give the wrong impression, because what that does is it triggers what I would call unreasonable requests.
Yeah.
They say, Fola, send me 1 million whatever, naira. You have money, you're swimming in cash, so send it to me. And then when you say, man, I don't have that kind of money.
They think you're
yeah, they think you're lying, or they think you're, yes. But then here's the other end of that psychology, is that when somebody deliberately sends the wrong message home and tries to paint the picture of being wealthy, and then the other side responds and says, okay, lend me money, and they don't have it. And then they say, okay, you know what, if I don't maintain this picture that I just sent, then they're going to look down on me or laugh at me. That's what triggers then the person going to go and borrow. I have seen people borrow from credit card just to send home. I've seen people borrow because they want to maintain that image that they created, right? So please, let's live normally, no pretenses, because that's a common mistake and it affects many things. Does anybody want to comment on that?
Yeah, just want to add more, like most people, you cannot hide from your fake life. That is the simple truth. The life that you have been living back home, like trying to make everybody to know that, oh, this is who you are, of which those that know you, they'll know that this is not who you are. So like I had a friend, like I had two childhood friends, both of them, they traveled before me, and they'll just be posting pictures, like, I'll just say, wow, but you, like, I'll always tell you, I say, you know that I know you. Then when I came now, they started telling me what they have been going through, like my own life, like they've been abroad for more than almost 20 years, but they have never gone back home. They have never gone back home. So your fake life will follow you. Somebody like me, from my background, I know where I'm coming from. People will see the same Pamela. Canada has not changed anything for me, apart from that, okay, I'm just fresh. That's the only, yeah, that's the only thing. Yeah, that I just look fresh. But to come now for other aspects in life, I am whom I am. Not because it's the issue of fake life. Yeah, so
okay,
that's just a little I have.
Sounds
Yeah,
good. Good job. Thank you so
okay.
very much. Fake life will always catch up with us. Good job. Thanks, Sister Pamela. Okay, so we're going to move on to topic number 3, drum roll. So we've looked at number 1. Okay, number 1 was financial illiteracy. Number 2 is sending the wrong message back home. Drum roll number 3 is renting. Paying off your landlord's mortgage and not building your own equity. Okay, renting. I know that we had touched on home ownership in the financial literacy topic, but here is a big deal with renting. Renting, when somebody is new in Canada, when somebody does not have a job, has not settled, is a necessity because you don't have, right? But once somebody has a job and is able to afford what they're renting, renting becomes a huge financial mistake. Okay? Renting becomes a case where you're taking care of somebody else's garden and your own garden is full of weeds. I'll give you an example. I know people who have lived in Canada 10 years, 15 years, and have never bought their own property. That, my brothers, my sisters, should not happen. Why? Because in 10 years of renting, let's say, for example, you rent at $1,000 a month, which is almost non-existent. But let's say you rent at $1,000 a month. And then Justin, you're going to help me do the math. Justin, you're going to help me do the math. $1,000 a month times 12 months, that's 12,000. I see somebody rents for 10 years. How much is that? 120,000.
120,000.
Let's say your equity is only half of that, which, is actually low. Let's say your equity is only half of that. That's 60,000. If somebody rents for 15 years, 12,000 times 15 years, Justin, is what?
180,000.
Let's say your equity is half of that, that's 90,000. When you stay renting, you're leaving money on the table. So open mic, please, let's talk about it. Sister Margaret, follow. Which, why we must get out of renting as fast as possible. Any additional inputs?
Okay, mine
Yeah,
is
Dr.
mine
Rose,
is
sorry. Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Brother Follow.
okay, mine is like a question, basically, because so what you have said now is that, as so long as one has gotten some form of income and employment, and that that it means that there's no need to engage in rent. But before you can actually go into mortgage, you need to have built some form of, I mean, educate me, if I'm wrong here. You need to have built some form of credit, or at least you'll have to be able to put down some percentage. If it's 5%, it's 10% of the value of the property that you want to engage in a mortgage. You don't get that as soon as you start working. You need to first build over time to see how you can save and manage your funds. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Go ahead. So what's your question?
Yeah, okay. So definitely one will have to, it depends on when one can start. One can say, okay, I've been able to put aside enough funds, to actually think of, buying my own property or owning my own property. And it depends on how much the person is making or is able to put aside. For me, I'm still basically a renter, and I'm so unhappy about it, basically, because I know that, at this point, I want to be able to start, paying for my own property, because where I'm even living or where I'm staying, the owner of the property, I'm paying rent for the owner of the property to pay his mortgage,
Yes.
And I see that it is very common among us. I've got to find out that the owner of the property, himself, his family, and another family, they are sharing a smaller place. While he bought this 3-bedroom apartment, that I am paying for. Meanwhile, him and his family, two families are sharing, a smaller place. So maybe I started thinking about it. I said, okay, maybe it's best to find somebody I'll be sharing a small apartment with, as a tenant, right? While I decide to take a mortgage of mine, because as it is right now, I will not. I need to take to a particular point. If in BC, for example, properties don't come cheap at all. You're looking at a 2-bedroom apartment. You're looking at upward of 600,000. Dollars. So how would you advise one navigate this kind of terrain?
Okay. Good question, Sister Margaret.
I totally agree with Mr. Fola that when you come new, you have to take some time and understand how these things go and save some money so that you can engage into the housing business. Because that engagement is not turning back. You cannot go in there and it's not working, you turn back, because there are implications. You can lose everything that you already started. So I thank Dr. Rose for making this town hall conversations. It's from these conversations that we will know that even though it's not good to stay a lot on renting, we should be able to plan for it. And in order to plan for it, you need to find out, you need to meet to some people who know how money works in this place. They'll be able to help you and make even a 5 years plan to save money and be able to buy your own house. 5 years is enough to make a plan with somebody that is earning an income from a regular job to get you to a point where you can get a house for yourself. So the moral of the story is we need to know what to do to get ready for that house. If not, we can rent and rent and rent because you think that to buy a house is mystical or it's a lot of money just because there was nobody to put you through. This time around in Canada, the government is supporting first home buyers with tax-free money to go and buy your house. And so they made an account called the First Home Savings Account for somebody who have never bought a house in Canada. You need that account is there for you to save money in that account tax-free. That's what the government is giving you. And it's also deducting it from your own income and say, here is free tax-free money. Go buy a house. This is our support for you to buy a house. So even the government is aware that people who are buying houses for the first time, they need help, right? So when we need to connect with the right people to be able to put you through, to make a plan for you, make a program, tell you what you need to know, what you need to do, what you need to put in place in order to engage in that big journey. Because the mortgage is the greatest or the biggest debt that any household is ever going to go into it. So you need to be prepared psychologically and economically for it. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so very much, Sister Margaret. So yeah, get together with the person who invited you and let's sit down. Let's let's do your plan. Uncle Fala, yes, I know that's me. So you and I need to sit down and do that 5-year plan that
Yeah.
Sister Margaret is talking about. And I want to congratulate Uncle Fala because we already sat down and he already has a first home savings account.
Yes,
We just need to, strategically build it. Now, but here's some addition, okay? One of the mistakes I have seen, because I'm in addition to being a financial advisor, I'm also a real estate broker. One of the most common mistakes I have seen is that we are renting an apartment. That's the most common rental. We're renting an apartment or a small townhouse. But then we want to buy a big house with double garage and big yard. And, we want to buy a house that's way bigger than what we're currently renting. So my advice usually is to buy as quickly as possible, even if it is quote unquote buying where you're renting. What I mean by that is this. If you are renting at $2,000, well, that's high. Let's say you're renting an apartment at $1,500 a month. You shouldn't go too far away from $1,500 a month in your first property. Why? Because it's too much of a big shock to go from $1,500 expense to $3,000 expense on mortgage. And I've seen where that big jump created a ripple effect where then you need a second job, then the family falls apart, then the house becomes just a fast track to divorce. I've seen it happen. So start small, buy where you're renting. Okay, buy an apartment. And I've seen people go, oh, God forbid, I'm never going to buy an apartment. But you live in one. You're renting an apartment. So then what is, God forbid, I'm never going to buy an apartment when you're renting it? Why would we keep renting an apartment for 5, 10 years when we could have bought it and built equity enough to now take that equity to go build your big house? So here's the thing. If you rent for more than 6 months after you get a stable job, you'll be wasting money. Why? Even if you buy an apartment for right away and live in it for the next 3 years. And let's say you're paying $2,000 a month, including what do you call it? Including what do they call that thing now? Condo fee, right? So let's say you do $2,000 a month, 24,000 a year times 3 years, that's 72,000. Even if the equity is half of that, you have $36,000 to take into building that new house. Why would you continue renting an additional 3 years because you're trying to save money to buy that big house, whereas you could stay in the same economy while saving more, also building equity? This is a long conversation, but you understand what I'm saying? Do not rent for longer than is necessary. Once you get a job, give yourself maximum 6 months, buy where you live. It may not be that same apartment, but buy something very close that keeps you in that same very close economic, your budget. Okay? So you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You're saving because now you have income, but you're also building equity, which you can sell and you take the equity and move to the bigger house. I hope that is helpful. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Next one. Any questions before we move on? Renting is a big topic. I have put a few video links in the chat. First home savings account, borrowed down mortgage. And borrowed down mortgage is a good one because you don't have to come up with your entire down payment. The banks can actually help you borrow some of your down payment. Okay, so listen to that video and I hope that's helpful. All right, how are we doing for time? Okay, like we said, today is not gonna be the day we finish all 21. This 21 common mistakes, we're gonna be discussing it today. That's 7th, on the 14th, on the 21st, and on the 28th. Black History Month. Let's just kind of focus and help ourselves. Now, next one, we just finished number 3. Drum roll. What is number 4? Number 4 is not understanding the power of OPM or taking advantage of it. And this is maximum exposure of assets. We could spend the whole day on this one, but we won't. Not understanding the power of OPM. Not understanding the power of OPM. By show of hands here, who knows what OPM is? Minus Margaret. Okay. Not understanding the power of other people's money and taking advantage of other people's money. And by not having this understanding, we expose our assets to the max. So if there's any emergency, any issue at all, our assets are in trouble because we don't have OPM. All right. Let's explain this one a little bit and then we can talk more. So OPM is another word for insurance. Okay. Other people's money. Insurance is not the only OPM. There's OPM in the world of investments as well. But OPM is other people's money. So let me explain. Let's say you have a car. So back home, when you buy a car, when you buy anything, you buy it cash down. Uncle Fola already explained that. So back home, you run a personal economy. There's no OPM. When you build your house, you build it with your own cash. So let's use a car, for example. You buy a Mercedes-Benz, back home you spend 60,000 USD, buy that Mercedes-Benz cash down. And then you get into a ghastly motor accident, thank God you're alive, but the Mercedes-Benz is written off. Back home, you would have to go find another $60,000 to replace that Mercedes-Benz, but it's your own money. Does that make sense? All of it is cash down, your own money. Now you're in Canada. You buy that same Mercedes-Benz for $60,000 Canadian, for example. You get into, by law in Canada, you're required to have car insurance, especially because 99% of the time, that $60,000 is not your money. Some bank lent it to you. So now you get into a ghastly motor accident. Thank God you're alive, but the Mercedes is a write-off. What happens in Canada? The insurance pays to replace the car. Is that your money? It's OPM. There's power in having that insurance and using other people's money to live your life. Okay? Now, I'm going to paint another example. Back home in Africa, Ivory Coast, Togo, Cameroon, wherever you're from, you build a house with your own money. You probably spent 150 million, whatever, currency. If anything happens, the house burns down. Let's say the house burns down, or there is war and bullets break down the house. In order to replace that house, you would have to go find your own money, spend your own money, and replace the house. It's your money, there is no OPM. Now you're in Canada, you buy a house. You have to have home insurance. Anything happens to the house, the neighbor's house catches fire, or you're cooking pounded yam, or no, not pounded yam. You're frying bread and eggs. You're frying plantain. And the house catches fire and burns down. OPM insurance rebuilds the house for you. So here's the big mistake that we make, is that we don't understand the power of OPM. So we're running that same personal economy that we do cash down back home. But here we forget that we have the opportunity to use OPM. And because we don't understand it, we leave a lot of money on the table. A lot, too much. So let me give you an example, a personal one. Okay. My husband and I tell this story, everybody knows once I start the story, everybody knows it. So for those of you who know the story, good. My husband and I, we came in 91, I came in pregnant. We had our first child quickly. We were approved by an insurance company. We got insurance. But I wouldn't say we got the wrong type of insurance. We just didn't understand how it worked. And because we didn't understand how it worked, when time came, it was a T20 we got. And 20 years later, they hiked his premium from $36 a month to over $600 a month. Reality. When you sit with me, I can show you the numbers. It's crazy. Canceled insurance in 2012. We got insurance in 1992. 2012, he canceled. 2016, he died. If he had not canceled, my children would have had OPM of $500,000. Okay? But because that policy was canceled, they lost their dad and they lost the OPM. They lost the coverage. So OPM is a massive thing. I could actually talk about this for weeks. without stopping. But we make a lot of mistakes because we don't understand the power of it. So let me give you one very, very, very common example I have seen where we actually really don't, we show that we don't get it. And it's so sad, it bleeds my heart, right? I just told you the case of life insurance where my children lost $500,000. But here's another example. This is maximum exposure of your assets, and it's in the real estate world again. I've seen my clients who, for example, bought a house. You buy a house for $500,000. You're paying, say, $4,000 a month of mortgage. And then, unfortunately, this person has a stroke. When somebody has a stroke, he's unable to go to work. If he had critical illness insurance, OPM, he would have received a lump sum, for example, $100,000. Free money, not free. He would have paid for, to carry the policy. But that's critical illness insurance, OPM, that he would have got if that he would have got that would have helped him to carry on, at least cover the mortgage and be able to sell the house at his own pace. But without insurance of that type, disability insurance, critical illness insurance, guess what happens? The bank forecloses on the house. The house is exposed because there is no money to continue paying the mortgage because the owner now cannot work, cannot earn. So my brothers, my sisters, I'm going to stop now and have other people contribute. For OPM, if you take nothing away from this series, take this away, that you must learn how OPM works and maximize usage of it. I'm going to stop now. Contributions, please. Looks like that was a sober one. That was a sober one. Okay. Somebody say something. It's almost time for us to wrap up today anyway. Next week, we'll continue with I think this was just number 4. Oh my God. 4 of 21. Okay. It's a long journey.
Yes,
Okay, good evening,
mommy.
everyone.
Hi, Mama Christy. Hi, Mama Christy. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, I thought somebody else was talking.
Yes, go ahead, please.
All right, good evening. Thank you. The session has been very interactive and engaging because we met in the last fair you came to Saskatchewan.
Yes,
Because
Mama.
trying to,
Yes.
Unfortunately, my husband is in another Zoom class. I wanted him to join the training because he was asking that what am I doing and all that. So I told him that the lady we met that in that career fair.
Yes.
You know that I've been following up with your section. Each time you have Zoom class, you've been very engaging, following up. It's not really easy. I really salute your courage
Thank you,
in
Ma.
assisting us to settle easily in a strange land, like this. Thank you so much for the support. So
God
let me
bless
not
you.
waste our time. I want to this insurance you talked about.
Yes.
Are you saying that if you want to get a property, is it better you do the mortgage insurance or this life insurance? I'm trying to understand which will work best for someone, because somebody was trying to tell me that it's better we do the universal insurance or something,
that if we do the universal insurance, it will cover for the mortgage. By the time you want to buy mortgage and get the mortgage, you don't need to do the mortgage or something. So I don't know if you can just quickly speak on that so that I will understand it perfectly.
Okay, so Sister Christy, you and I need to meet offline.
Okay.
Just
All right.
so we we can spend some more time. I know that for today we're running out of time, but I'm gonna say a few things before we wrap things up now. So when we I'm just putting a video link in the chat now. It says no to MPP. So MPP is what they call mortgage protection plan. It does work, but is not advisable in most cases. So MPP is the mortgage protection that your lender gives you, which is tied to the mortgage. So in that video, I show you why MPP is not advisable unless you have no choice. I have some clients who have no choice. And so I said to them, take the MPP. And the circumstances under which you have no choice really are if you have health issues. So if you have health issues and are unable to get your own personal policy, then, for sure, take the MPP from your lender. But otherwise, get your own personal life insurance policy. And so, Sister Mama Christy, you and I, let's talk tonight. Can you ring me up right after this meeting just so you and I can connect?
All right.
Okay, let's do that. But that's a really good question, and we should probably, I don't want to make promises, but Uncle Fala, maybe start making notes for me on things that we need to talk about in the future.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but this is probably one of them. It's a big one because
Okay.
it's around our mortgages and it's also around us keeping the money. We kind of eat our cake and have it when we have our own personal policy, as opposed to an MPP in which we eat our cake, but we don't have it.
Okay.
So yeah, please help me maintain that list. But yes, it is 8:03 by my time. I know it is 10:03 in Ontario. So I know Sister Pamela is almost falling asleep on me. And so thank you all so very much. Today we only touched 4 out of 21. So we're gonna continue this town hall on Friday, same time, February 14th, Black History Month. Let's really help each other with making the right financial decisions. Again, get together with the person who invited you and sit together and talk about everything we've talked about today. If you need to set up a first home savings account, please set that up for your first home. If you're looking at buying, don't waste time, build equity while you're saving, and a lot of other things. For next week, please invite your friends, let everybody know what we're doing so we can be of help to them as well, so they can benefit from what we're doing. Once again, a big thank you to everybody for being here. God richly bless you. Happy Black History Month, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Mom.
God
Thank you
bless.
so much.
God bless you.
Thank you.
God
Thank
bless.
you, Doctor.
God bless.